the second. India have won the Test match. India have won the series. They're going to get back for two. India home. Lords goes.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the 81 All Out podcast. This is your host, Siddhartha Vaidyanathan, and I'm joined today by the regulars, Mahesh, Ashoka, and Kartikeya. I'll link Mahesh's handle on X. I'll link Kartikeya's Substack and his handle on X at Cricketing View. I don't know what to link of Ashoka's, but I'll link his. You can follow him on Reddit, I think, if ever you find him in that mysterious zone. We're here to talk about the first test between India and New Zealand in Bangalore. New Zealand won by 8 wickets. A magnificent test match. Just leaving aside everything. I mean, leaving aside the result, leaving aside the individual performances. Let's just acknowledge, what an absolutely terrific test match, went on for the last few days. I mean, there's something about a great test that sort of gets the anticipation meter going like none other. I mean, a team got bowled out for 46 in the first innings. I don't think had any business to even remotely compete in that match after that point. But yeah, I mean, the great team that the Indian team is, they did, make a fist of it. I won't necessarily say they, that they were favorites at any point, but they actually came back in the second innings to make that score. New Zealand, fine result for them. They got, their fast bowlers were awesome when the conditions were in their favor. I mean, you can say what you want about the first morning and the overcast, but when you have Matt Henry, Southee, and Rourke bowling like that, I mean, not many teams are going to be able to have a chance. Third victory for New Zealand in India ever, and their first victory since 1987. We spoke in the podcast last time about how New Zealand hadn't really, purely results-wise, hadn't really done too much in India. But here, this is easily their, one of their finest victories ever. I don't think we need to qualify this even by saying India or Asia or anything. This is just one of New Zealand's magnificent wins. Overall, great test match. The drainage system in the Chinnaswamy, of course, playing its part, probably a candidate for the player of the match. Or, 10 years earlier, or even now, even today, in most grounds, I don't think there would have been a result in this match, if not for that level, that quality of draining. And turned out to give us a match for the ages. Big picture thoughts, Ashoka?
Yeah, I think this is one of my all-time favorite test matches, man. It was entertaining start to finish. Only by the time in the second innings when New Zealand were like 50 for 2, needing another 50, that's when the interest went down. Until then, it was like there were literally no boring moments in the test match at all. This was a race against time to see if the test match will happen at all, because every news outlet was saying that there was going to be a cyclone in Bangalore. It was going to be bad. There was something called the orange alert that was there. I was seeing pictures of places in Bangalore underwater and all that. So I thought this was not going to happen, but then somehow it happened, and Rohit Sharma made the greatest decision of his life to play 3 spinners, which literally forced him to open the batting. He won the toss and said, okay, I have 3 spinners, so I have to bowl last. So that was amazing. I mean, that one decision made this match so interesting. New Zealand could not have asked for better conditions, man. They picked 3 pacers, and I don't know why Latham was still saying that he was going to bat. After winning the match and during the presentation, he was still saying that, boss, if we won the toss, we were going to bat first. I don't know why he was...
He's an honest guy.
Why did he want to bat first? There were clouds in the sky like crazy. I mean, there were crazy cloudy conditions, and he had 3 pacers in his team. Win the toss, bowl first, man. What's the worst that can happen? And they got the conditions that they wanted. And getting your conditions is one thing. I mean, doing it is quite another. I mean, that opening spell by Hendry was like possibly the best of this test match, man. The best moment for me in this test match, closely followed by the Sarfaraz-Pant partnership. But that opening spell was like amazing spell he had. And then, India were 46 all out. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I don't. If you wanted like a test series, if you wanted to start a test series in India, I think this is like the best and perfect situation that any team with 3 fast bowlers could have hoped for, and they got it. So yeah, absolutely right. But they made the most of it.
Yeah, and see their luck. Once that 46 all out happened, the conditions like it was like very sunny. I mean, off the pitch, the ball was not doing much. And I mean, then Ravindra really hammered Indian spinners. So that was that. I mean, that was the best setup for the test match, because we keep talking about how great India are in India. Once your team is that great, I mean, the excitement comes from willingly put yourself in jeopardy. I don't think India willingly put themselves in jeopardy, but as a spectator, you want to see how deep a hole can this team crawl out of. And this was the perfect setup. You're 46 and New Zealand had made 400. Now what are you going to do? And the second innings by India was like super entertaining. They just hammered New Zealand until the second new ball. And then second new ball, everything came back down to earth. I mean, that O'Rourke guy, I thought he was good in the Sri Lanka series, but in this test he was like amazing, man. I mean, this is probably close to the conditions that he will get at home, right? So if he's a regular in New Zealand, or I can see him being a insane threat even in England. These kind of conditions, with his height, he gets like steepling bounce from good length, or even over pitch delivery. The ball kicks up a lot.
Yeah, the ball to Kohli was unplayable. I mean, how do you do anything else than what Kohli did to that ball? So
yeah, I think he pitches somewhere in that 4 to 6 meters mark and then hits your thumbs, man. I don't know how do you play that.
It was 9-meter length. It was back of a length, but it seemed like more than 2 degrees. So between where it pitched and between where it hit Kohli, it deviated roughly 30 centimeters. So Kohli is right. Now, when he's playing it off the pitch, he's playing it so expecting it to pass outside his off stump, and instead it hits him in front of leg stump, So he has nowhere to go basically.
If Kyle Jamieson can come back to his original form, they have a beginnings of a good attack. I mean, Matt Hendry is not as young as these two guys, but he'll be around for a while. So Matt Hendry, Jamieson, O'Rourke, I think that's a beginning of a very good attack. You just have to find
Ferguson
one more.
Doesn't play tests or what?
No, he's not that accurate also, and he shaped himself to be a T20 player, right? Like T20 bowler who bowls all kinds of variations in an over, stuff like that. So, but these three guys, and if they find one more, they are saying that Ben Sears is also very good. They bought Ben Sears to this tour, I think. So if he is also good, then they have the attack, man. They can replicate their success of their last 3-4 years. But coming back to this test match, I think they got very, very good conditions while bowling and while batting. So from 46 all out and 402, I mean, it was just a matter of checking how far India will push them. And India, to be fair, pushed them quite far. Not many teams are going to get to 460 and all that after being behind by 350 runs. So that was fun to watch. And then, for a brief period, Bumrah and Siraj were giving slight hopes of a collapse. But then it's fine.
No, so this is what we discussed during the preview, right? In fact, I was thinking that the outlier will come in the form of a Square Turner and Ajaz has his day. But on the contrary, I did not foresee this at all. So they had the perfect sort of.
Mahesh, I foresaw it. Go listen to the preview. I said their best chance is pace.
No, you said their best chance is pace. It's not like on a true wicket they got India for like 120 all out or something. This was a wicket in which they had everything going for them. And in the fact that Latham said that is also a testament to the fact that these kind of decisions, for instance, are usually the correct decisions, right? You feel like, okay, the wicket is a bit damp and there was a bit of rain and the ball could seem a little weird, but if you lose 2 or 3 wickets in the first session and you bat through that, then you set yourself up for a big total, and then eventually the spinners will come in handy in the fourth innings. So it's impossible for you to foresee the kind of the level of help that the fast bowlers got at the beginning of the second day, and in many ways that kind of outlier pretty much closed the test for India. This is a testament to the fact that in India the conditions are so vastly different from each other, and they can vary so much between one ground to another, and even within one ground they can vary so much between different seasons of the year. It's a fascinating time to be a Test cricket fan, and there's so much going on. Just the sheer bowling depth. I mean, we're talking about post-peak New Zealand, and even for a post-peak New Zealand, someone like Bill O'Rourke comes and he looks so much the part. We talked about Siraj being the part on his debut in Australia, right? I mean, for Indians, of course, we are not used to it. So for us, it meant a lot. Maybe for New Zealand, it means something. I do not know. But just to watch him bowl in such an early part of his career, to be able to bowl at that pace and get that kind of carry and sort of get that kind of seam movement, I mean, he's got immense potential. Like, okay, it is one thing to argue that this is post-peak New Zealand. But you look at the talent there. You watch Rachin Ravindra bat and you watch Will O'Rourke bowl. I can't see how this is post-peak. This is just like, this is very much in the peak, right? There was one generation, part of a generation left, another generation is taking over. Jameson is still quite young, by the way. Henry is a bit older. So, I mean, it's a great time to be a Test cricket fan. And the fact that New Zealand came and did this, adds to the fact that every Test match is important. Every Test match has its own sort of meaning and context. And I was delighted. And the other thing that I really liked is the crowd turning up. I know KD will have his views on watching seam movement in the ground, but the fact that so many people turned up to watch the match was very heartwarming for me personally. And also, it's the kind of match that you'll remember for a long, long time. The kind of partnership that Sarfaraz and Pant had, and to even think that India had a chance of winning the Test till the fourth evening on the back of first 46 all out and then conceding that quantum of lead is ridiculous. I mean, that's really the testament to the greatness of the side. The fact that there was still hope. In fact, people were disappointed that they didn't win after the end of first innings for both the teams. Tells you how great this team is.
This is why India insists on playing 4 fast bowlers outside India. Because when your attack does not suit the conditions, you are in trouble. And India were in trouble. They picked the wrong attack. They didn't have a first change fast bowler. Okay. Well, it's the equivalent of getting a fast bowler to bowl on a road, where there's absolutely nothing in the pitch for the fast bowler. Like the spinner, I mean, you look at Ashwin. Ashwin beat the bat, I think, 9 times in 16 overs in this spell. And like Tim Southee took him apart. I think Tim Southee took 25 and 10 from Ashwin. But basically there's nothing in it for Ashwin. And Ashwin's underlying figures are what they are in every match. He's getting the ball to drift. He's getting the his length is fine. It's just that the batter knows that the bounce is true. They can trust the bounce, and that it's not really turning very much. So I mean, remarkably, both sides seem to have misread the pitch, but New Zealand just didn't have the ability to play three spinners. I mean, they were never going to play 3 spinners, but India were, and they picked the wrong side. And And like, okay, 46 all out on another day, it might not have been 46 all out. Another day it might have been like 60 for 5 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't. I think basically the way the table was set in India had the wrong side. It was like India playing with 9 players, and like two bowlers basically.
Maybe they sort of expected it to be like the Chennai test against Bangladesh, where they were in trouble early on, then 144 for 6, and then their lower order made the most of the better conditions. So maybe they expected that. Obviously, it was.
I mean, they're also, the other thing is you're also noticing the value of Cheteshwar Pujara at number 3, because he soaks up so many balls, he keeps so many balls out. He's such a difficult wicket to get. I mean, he might, even when he was not in form, he might get 25 and 90, but that 90 still makes the ball really old, for whoever comes in later, and over here you didn't have that, so I mean, India basically got their bowling attack wrong, and but both sides seemed to feel that it was dry, and maybe it looked dry also. But I mean, one of the things about this is that they're using that vacuum based drainage system, no? So like normally, if you have a drainage system which dries the ground using just gravity and evaporation, then the condition of the pitch when the outfield is dry after rain is much drier than it will be here, no? Because the whole sub air or whatever it is called, that system, it is only in the outfield. It is not on the square. The square has to be covered perfectly anyway. So like, I think the pitch that they play on is probably a little bit, a little bit wetter than it would normally be if they just allowed the ground to dry on its own. If they allowed the ground to dry on its own, you wouldn't get 250 overs of cricket in this test match. You would have probably lost, like, I don't know, maybe more than 50, 60 extra overs. If like you saw how much trouble there was in Kanpur for the ground to dry. And we
But
okay,
KD, if the ground dries, I mean, if the pitch dries faster, then the cracks would be bigger, right? And then you would have a lot more misbehavior from the balls that you face.
But that's why I think the pitch is not drying as much as they think it is. However it looks on the surface. So I mean, one theory doing the rounds is, since they installed this sub air system, the pitch is cracking a lot more than it used to. But this could also be because they've maybe started using a different type of clay for the pitch than compared to what they used to. I think it's a good thing, because I think this system, firstly, it reduces the length of the stoppage, and secondly, it introduces a new test, for the players. Like, I think if you look at the 2018 Lord's Test match, when also India played Kuldeep Yadav as a spinner, they picked the wrong. They played an extra spinner where they should have played 4 fast bowlers. And in that also, I mean, at the end of the first day, when the ball was really steaming and swinging a lot, right? As in, like, it was going in circles, right? And they were basically, after the day's play, I was talking to like Norcross and a couple of other people. He was telling me that, a generation ago, the conditions were such that there would have been no play at Lord's that day, like, instead over there you got nearly 30 overs. So some of this is like, also you're playing also in conditions where previously you would not have played. Like first of all, you think about it this way, like, take away all the overs that they played under lights in this match, that wouldn't happen one generation ago. So players wouldn't have to put up with the pitch in those conditions either. So these are sort of, I don't know. I think it's a good thing. I think these types of changes are good. And I think, if there's some ground in the world which comes up with a roof and they are able to like cover the ground or what, that's also good. So all these changes are, I think, in a good direction. Okay, fine. But they are not, we should not, the point is, there are sort of second order consequences of this type of sub-air, this type of machine driven drying system. It will have consequences to the amount of moisture elsewhere, and that affects sort of the playing conditions. But it is not illegal. I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's just maybe helping a certain type of bowling more or less. For example, when New Zealand used the first new ball, they didn't get a lot of seam movement. Whereas when they used the third new ball, they got a lot more seam movement. Now the third new ball was also like, it was just I think 9 overs after a rain break. Because I think it rained during the lunch break.
Second new ball, no? It's after 80 overs. No?
Their second new ball, yeah. Their third new ball of the match.
Okay.
So, and that ball seemed a lot more for them. So I actually think some of this is also a function of like the balls that they're using. I think some balls maybe swing less, some balls maybe swing. Like the ball that was used in the fourth innings by India, it seemed quite a bit, but it didn't seem as much as the ball on the first morning, even though it was really wet and cloudy for a lot of the time. But it did swing a lot. I mean, Jasprit Bumrah got the ball to swing a lot. But then again, Jasprit Bumrah is Jasprit Bumrah. So, I wonder what he would have done on the first morning. That might have been quite something. But I think New Zealand dodged a bullet there. And like, I'm not surprised that Tom Latham is saying that he would have also batted, because they're looking at the same pitch that the Indians are looking at. No, I mean, I'm pretty sure their read of the pitch is pretty similar.
They had the team to bowl first. That's probably what is puzzling. That if he picked,
do you think they would have picked like 3 spinners? Like which 3 spinners would they have picked? I don't know. And do they have?
They could have picked Santner. No, Santner's in the team, in the squad. So
yeah,
he's
perhaps.
there. Yeah.
But I don't see them going into, like, unless it's like an absolute square turner. I mean, and this is not like that. So even I thought that this would turn later in the match, like that it was dry and so on. And so
no, I thought just visually, not from how the ball was behaving, just visually, they were like footmarks very prominent on, on either side of the pitch, man. And I thought, while New Zealand were batting, I thought, yeah, maybe that's a good call to bowl first.
And they were
to bat first. I thought picking 3 spinners was also justified because of all the footmarks. I thought this, they're going to bundle New Zealand at some point if they had like 120 lead also. But it didn't happen. That's the weird part of it, because usually footmarks starts to intensify, at the end of second day, third day is when you start to see them. But these guys just started, and the second day of play, I saw a lot of footmarks. And then I was thinking, yeah, maybe, batting first was not a bad idea. Maybe, they didn't plan on getting 46 all out, but overall, this was not a bad choice. Then Rohit Sharma comes out and says, I am so sorry. I made the worst decision of my life.
Sign of a leader.
Yeah. I hang my head in shame. Hey, no, man. I mean, there are footmarks there. Maybe it turns. Let's wait and see. No, before giving all dramatic statements.
Don't hang your head in shame so early.
Yeah.
There are other times to hang your head in shame. But wait, one thing that I have to correct you about that second new ball and third new ball. I think it was actually the third new ball, because this Rishabh Pant went and lost 1 ball. So there was probably
right.
There was another ball change at one point. Yeah.
But see, this is why the question of should you play Shardul Thakur or should you play Ashwin is not as obvious as people think. This test match is sort of evidence of that sort of thing. Because
you're choosing this test match to make this point, is it?
This actually is. I mean, I would in a rare instance, I would agree with KD because this looked like an overseas test match, man. This looked and played out like an overseas test match.
Listen. I understand all that, but if you put Shardul in the New Zealand team instead of any of the three
No, that's not what I'm agreeing to.
India would have been like 250.
I'm saying this looked like an overseas test match. Shardul instead of Ashwin is a bridge too far even for me.
I'm glad he didn't go to Stuart Binney. He stopped at Shardul.
The home ground advantage was Stuart Binney, man. Come on.
And perfectly opportune moment he chooses to dunk on Ashwin when he has got hammered in one test match in like 15 or 50 or whatever he has played.
He hasn't gotten hammered because of anything he did. No, I mean, it's just, all right. I mean, look, Tim Southee and all these guys, they took chances. I mean, on another day, one of those chances would have sort of been a miss hit and they could have got out, and then Ashwin could have got, 3 for 60 instead of 1 for 96. And it would have been a different game. New Zealand would have been like 300 all out instead of 400 all out. And we wouldn't even have noticed. But there's basically really nothing much in the wicket for him. And if a batter goes after him, and the spinner doesn't have pace. No, there's nothing the spinner can do to kill a batter who's prepared to go after him. And Tim Southee was basically doing T20, man. I mean, he was basically throwing his bat, which was actually an interesting strategy, given that Rachin Ravindra was batting with him. So the whole old-fashioned thing about, when you're batting with a batsman, you hold your end up, keep the bowling out, let the batter score the runs, that's all gone. I mean, okay, Tim Southee is uniquely good at hitting.
No, it's also because of Southee, because he's a good hitter, no? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of all the batters in Test cricket who have 2,000 Test runs, Southee has got 25% of his runs in sixes. The next best record is like 15% or something.
Yeah, he went past Sehwag in this test actually. 6 in terms of sixes.
Yeah.
Also, you think when he came, it was like 230, 240. No, the lead was already 200 runs. So
yeah,
it's not like he needed to be shielded and all that. He can just have fun.
No, but even then, the difference between the 300 run lead and the 400 run lead was huge. So yeah, if New Zealand were 300 all out, then this match is looking a little different. So anyway, yeah.
No, but it was good. I mean, they took a chance and it came off for them. Good for them. I mean, but the point is that there's nothing in the pitch which made that chance taking difficult.
I don't agree with you. I mean, Jadeja was quite difficult to play. I don't think the pitch was as...
Jadeja can bowl at 100 kilometers per hour, man. That's so... But even he got taken to the cleaners by the Southee-Ravindra pairing.
Yeah, but there was a market difference between Ashwin and Jadeja in this match. So I don't totally agree with the pitch point.
Yeah, but Jadeja has more speed. No, Jadeja has a bigger range of speed than Ashwin. And he's, in general, harder to drive also. I mean, he's very hard to loft. How often do you see Ravindra Jadeja batsman stepping out and lofting Ravindra Jadeja? I mean, it happens, but it's rare. Look, Ashwin's sort of outcome, like 1 for 96 in 16 overs is you remember, Vaughan in 1998 going for like 110 in 16 overs against Bombay, when Tendulkar made that double 100 against them. It's that level of stuff, but really his underlying figures are fine. I don't think there's anything... I don't think he's bowling any different to what he used to.
It's just 16 overs, man. It's not that. It's hard to read too much into it on a wicket where he didn't get much assistance.
You have no credibility on this point, Mahesh. Like you and Ashoka are like Ashwin Bhakts, man. Like,
I mean, that's like saying you are a Bumrah Bhakt. If you're not a Bhakt of Ashwin, then there's no point of...
Yeah, I don't see what's wrong in being Ashwin Bhakt, man. He has 500 wickets in like 100 test matches, man. Like, whose Bhakt will I be then?
If you could play 2 Ashwins on a green top, you would play them.
Of course I would. But there are no 2 Ashwins in the world. There's only one. That's how precious he is.
For someone who is so creative and for someone who enjoys sort of trying so many things out, he's also sort of surprisingly averse to going negative. Like you'll never, if Ashwin is getting hammered by a lefty, for instance, which rarely happens, but it could. He's not. You won't see him like bowl outside the leg stump, like in some like bullheaded manner, like over after over. I mean, partly that's because India are rarely in that kind of position in a match where he has to do it. I mean, and even here, I mean, it was like the thing that's happened in Test cricket, I think, is that time has gone out as something you can meaningfully manipulate. Like slowing down the game and like killing a game and playing for a draw either with bat or in the field. This is not a. I mean, it seems that this notion has gone out of the game.
Yeah, time is only manipulated forward. You only accelerate the game. You don't decelerate it.
You see, you have like you bowl over the wicket to Rachin Ravindra, right? Ashwin bowls off spin, an off spinner bowls over the wicket to Rachin Ravindra because he's getting hit, and he sort of Ravindra is not going to kick him away over after over after over. He's going to reverse sweep him, or he's going to sweep him. He's going to do something. So the whole notion of like establishing a stalemate is gone. Because batters are also not prepared to sort of let stalemates go on. Whereas when Ashwin started his Test career, there were batsmen who would, keep stalemates on, and that's why one of the reasons why there are so few draws. That nobody is really interested in them anymore. And like, okay, as all the players keep saying, the WTC point system has taken, has reduced incentives for that sort of thing. Because you can easily imagine, for instance, that another Indian batting lineup against this. I mean, why? You look at it happened in Mohali against New Zealand in 1999. No, I mean, India were bowled out for 83, and then they bowled out New Zealand for 215, and then they made 505, and they took a long time over those 505.
Yeah, batted 2 days, I think. Yeah.
Like you can imagine another Indian batting lineup doing that to this New Zealand side. No, instead here India what? India bowled out in 100 overs for 460. They could have played 150, 160 overs here and killed the game and not lost it. But that's not how they are going to play. I mean that they are going to try to win.
I sometimes think because they are this way, I sometimes think all this, the losses in South Africa and England, or sometimes at home also, is a symptom of that kind of, that way of thinking. You actually end up losing tests because you don't want the stalemate. You'd rather try the riskier option and lose than,
Yeah, because most of the time that when they take the risk, it comes off and they win.
Yeah, I mean, look at the flip side. They won that test against Bangladesh in Kanpur. No, how many Indian sides in the past would have won that test?
There, they were not in a danger of losing. I mean, I'm saying
no, but they still went for it. No, I'm saying 95% or 99% of the time that match would have been a draw. But that's what I'm saying. So it works both ways. You're right that they lose tests also because the stalemate is out. They also win tests because the stalemate is out. So it works for them. And honestly, they haven't lost too much also in India.
But I mean, I think it's a variety of factors. It's not just that the modern day batsmen are not patient enough or they're not interested in manipulating time. It is difficult because they've got more range of shots. Like the incentive for Ashwin to go negative is less because he knows he's going to be less effective as compared to, let's say, Kumble bowling down the wicket. Because the batsmen simply have a much wider range of shots. And they can clear the boundary much more easily. Just a sheer number of reverse sweeps that the average batsman plays, not a specialist, not like an Andy Flower, right? Every other batsman plays the reverse sweep. In fact, in the last podcast, we talked about the fact that Rachin Ravindra did not play too many reverse sweeps in Sri Lanka, and that became the talking point.
Here he did though. I think he played a couple. I think Conway played more reverse sweeps than
they all play them now. I mean, but in that Mohali match for 99, India batted 183 overs, man. In
That's
that,
2 days, man.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but look at it this way. In this test match, had they actually tried to bat time, then it would have been counterproductive, no? Because they were trying to maximize that ball, as much as possible till it got to the 80 overs. Then after 80 overs, things became a little more difficult. So it's good that they scored quick. It's good that Pant and
It's
Sarfaraz
hard to
did what they
argue,
did.
man. It's hard to argue because, like, if you are not looking, like, for instance, you can also argue that Sarfaraz got out to the new ball because he's trying to attack the new ball. Maybe even with all the movement and help that they got, maybe, with a tighter sort of defense, he could have survived the new
That's
ball. And
argument. That's a fact. Like, he's caught at extra cover, man. Come on. Out to a
Mahesh.
bowler.
Mahesh.
No, I know, but it's
Mahesh.
not like the other way around.
Attack
Yeah.
the new ball.
Mahesh, with a tighter defense, Rohit Sharma would have been batting, man.
I know.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma is probably the only guy in recent memory who has middled a ball onto the stumps, man. What a legend.
The last Indian
Great
batsman
guy.
to do it was Venkatesh Prasad in 1999.
Against Zimbabwe.
No, against Pakistan, Sakline. Oh, sorry, Srinath, not
Oh,
Venkatesh.
yeah. Srinath.
Srinath,
That last
Srinath.
wicket.
Sorry.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, legendary. The thing is that Rohit Sharma wicket, we have to pause a bit because that wicket itself happened in like some 0.25x speed. He middles it, he defends it perfectly. Then the ball, it's like a feather, man. Like a feather, it's just slowly going on to the
Poor
stump.
guy, man. He
And
got
it
committed to the front foot, man. He couldn't kick the ball away. He was like, that was an exaggerated defense.
It's impossible for a batsman. Once they have come forward, it's impossible for a batsman to kick the ball out. Even that Tim Southee was doing it, man. He was playing forward and then he was kicking the ball out.
He was not that exaggerated forward. Hey, come on, dude.
But I
No.
want to talk a little
done.
bit about batting. I know we talk a lot about bowling, but this test match saw some fantastic batting. Kohli batted beautifully. He probably attacked a little bit more than usual, and that came off quite well. I mean, he was also a bit unfortunate to get out in the last ball of the day. But I want to talk about Rachin Ravindra. Sorry, with all due respect, Ashoka, Kane Williamson needs to make way for the next big thing.
He's got
This
all
the size
one
that
hit
he's gonna
wonder.
be-
I agree, he's a great batter.
batsman.
I agree, Ravindra is a great batter. He'll be a future great. All that I agree because he's CSK blood. So,
He's CSK blood.
hey, these are all.
CSK blood, yeah.
Yeah, us young people talk like this. Maybe it's
Never
not.
heard of CSK until he was like, 22 or something, man. Come on.
If at all anything, he's Karnataka blood. Okay? If let's
What are you
let's go
talking
there.
about, man?
KSCA blood, man. Not CSK.
KSCM. Talk about him. What a magnificent knock.
I think
What
he's a complete package. He can attack, he can defend. He's got the technique to play against serious fast bowling and serious spin. I mean, he goes so deep in the crease to play off the back foot. I mean, some of the Jadeja balls, he was almost hitting it off the stumps. He's got supreme confidence and supreme execution. I can't find a flaw in him. He's just too good.
I mean, it's actually some of what Mahesh is saying, no, is a sign of just how rare it is to be able to see a batsman, get a chance to bat on a true pitch, in India against India. There were a few innings like that when England were playing. I think Gill's 100, both of his hundreds were that kind of innings. Really a true pitch where he could trust the bounce. And I think a couple of Jaiswal's innings were like that. But I mean, Ravindra is like I think he's a left-handed Joe Root, and I mean he's got that extra moment to play the ball.
No, I mean, Rachin Ravindra was one thing, but I think, there are also other New Zealand performances. I mean, I think overall, Will Young was impressive. Conway, they have a good
Conway,
lineup, man. I mean,
because he faced down Jasprit Bumrah with the new ball in both innings.
that was a magnificent little spell of cricket, man. Bumrah bowling to Conway. I mean, it was really riveting to watch. and the commentators were talking a bit about, how Conway is actually showing all three stumps and batting. He's taking guard on sort of leg, and he's trying to, ensure that
classic way to play. No?
Yes, yeah. So there was that. So, and also Ashoka, I think, lot of CSK blood there. Conway, Ravindra, Mitchell. I think generally, CSK blood is emerging.
No, this Stephen Fleming has New Zealand quota. He keeps buying all the correct. New Zealand players to that team.
And correct. Yeah. Many others. Yeah, but okay. To the Indian batting. Now that we have spoken about Rohit Sharma's dismissal, I think we should go on to the partnership. Sarfaraz. I mean, you spoke about Rachin Ravindra's hands, but Sarfaraz Khan's hand, there's that handiwork that he has. That's like from a different sport, man. I mean, he's not playing cricket. He's doing something else.
No, that tap over the wicketkeeper that he hit, ridiculous. He literally left the ball and played it as an afterthought. And the guy is so agile. He played that shot while he was falling down.
Yeah, there's no reason to play that. Like he was perfectly capable of leaving it, letting it go. But that's not enough for him. He has to poke his bat at it.
Yeah. And, every time I saw him play that shot, half of my mind was thinking, oh my God, he's going to do that against Cummins and he's going to nick that to the keeper. It's going to happen in Perth if let's say Rohit Sharma doesn't play, which seems likely. Karthikeya, sorry to disappoint, I'm going to be there. So I hope he doesn't do it. But otherwise, it was super fun to watch. And I mean, between both.
What do you mean? If he's not going to be there, then Rohit Sharma has to change his plans and actually go and play, man. Come on.
I hope he does.
No. Only one of them can be there. The world cannot take both Mahesh and Rohit Sharma in the same place. That is just too much, man. That will take things beyond everything. But that Sarfaraz Khan, you're right, that O'Rourke short ball, I'm thinking, the way he evaded, but then he's keeping his eyes on the ball and his whole body is like arching into this position where, it's going to meet the ball at that perfect spot. And at that moment, the only, for some reason, the batter that came to mind, it's probably also because of the shape in which Sarfaraz had got himself into, was Aravinda, man. I mean, that similar kind of frame, body type, audacity. I was like, dude, this is like amazing. This is stunning.
I'm going to disappoint both Mahesh and Sidvi. I've seen Sarfaraz do this 5 to 6 times in IPL for RCB. And he has failed a couple of times doing this also. Yes, actually.
Just by saying people chant RCB in a test match.
He's chanting RCB now. No, listen.
No, he was in RCB. That's a fact. He played all these shots.
And he played well also. He played that one season. He played well.
Yeah.
No, but here's the point. Which is important to make is that we often talk about the other direction, right? We often talk about players who, are like T20 superstars starting, and then after that they make a name for themselves in this. This guy, he played IPL. This is well before he was the Sarfaraz Khan of today. He played IPL. Then after that, he had whatever disappointments and all. But now he's predominantly, he's gone away from T20. He's now first class cricket full and full. He's like a first class legend. And with that, he's playing these shots. It's not like, he's regularly been playing, being an IPL superstar who is also now doing this in Test cricket. He actually is gone the other way,
he's Mumbai blood.
But I'm saying this.
So what is the option of blood, dude? Mumbai blood, CSK blood.
I am the only person here who's trying to keep young people listening to our podcast, man. You guys are making.
When he says blood, Mahesh, he's spelling is BLUD. It is not BL.
Yeah, blood.
Oh my God. God, you guys have to be taught a lot, dude.
Yeah, we are boomers, man. We are okay boomers. But
that's a good point, Sidhi. I think Sarfaraz being an attacking first-class cricketer and a test cricketer, and not so successful in IPL also kind of creates the separation point that you talked about, right? An attacking test batsman is a different beast compared to, it's not the same. You can't transport that skill into T20. I mean, in test match, you're attacking the bowler, you're attacking the length. In T20, you're attacking, as Karthikeya would say, the field, right?
Hey,
No,
they
and
are all
one
like
thing
this,
about
man. They are all like this in
Sarfaraz-
Mumbai, man. Look at the Mumbai lineup. Jaiswal, then Sarfaraz, then Shreyas Iyer, then
No.
Surya
But I'll
Kumar
tell you the
Yadav when he bats.
difference. Ashoka, I'll tell you the difference. Yashasvi Jaiswal has absolutely no issue like going after the bowling and hitting at the spot where a fielder is there and clearing the fielder. I mean, that is his style of play, which is extremely successful in all formats. Sarfaraz Khan, you watch him, he does not play like that. He does not hit, like even when he's hitting a six, it is not like he's hitting over the fielder. He's hitting in a place where there's no fielder. This is a very, very, old school style of playing. Like it's not the T20 hitting style of playing. It's a very different style of playing cricket. And Sarfaraz, being the first class legend that he is, has developed that. And even those shots that where he's trolling those slips, man. I mean, come on, that's a very, very first class kind of
No,
cricketer. I mean,
my point is not the way they are hitting. My point is that team has this tendency of playing very, very quickly, batting very, very quickly. That entire team outside of Rahane, I can't think of.
Actually, Rahane also for Mumbai is a very aggressive batsman. Actually, you're right, Ashoka. Like even apparently Manjrekar said, I saw it somewhere, that Sarfaraz gave the middle finger to the Mumbai school of batting. I'm like, dude, that story is at least 2 generations old. For the last generation at least, all Mumbai batsmen who come through the ranks are very, very aggressive. I mean, Shreyas Iyer, if you watch him play for
very
Mumbai,
aggressive. Then Shivam, they play Shivam Dubey, he's aggressive. They play Surya Kumar Yadav, he's aggressive. They are all.
also,
they are not.
It's not like this. It's not like the earlier Mumbai. It's not like Mumbai never had attacking batsmen before, man. This whole stereotype of this Mumbai schools and all. I mean,
see, the point of Kadus is take an attacking batsman, teach him the lesson of playing a long innings, and make him Kadus.
Nobody has time for long innings.
Sandeep Patil, Dilip Vengsarkar, all of them were extremely attacking on their day. I don't think they had to be Kadus. The way Manjrekar describes Kadus. So that itself is a bit problematic. But anyway, yeah. But I find Sarfaraz to be somewhat very unique. Like, Shreyas Iyer, Jaiswal, I can sort of put them in a sort of a large basket. Sarfaraz, I think, is like very, very unique, man. I mean, his style, the areas he hits, the way he finds the gaps, the offside play. I mean, this guy's offside range is mad, man. Like he's able to find every single gap. You put the fielder anywhere, he will find the gap in the offside. It's like, Lara level field awareness. I mean, I'm not saying he's as good as Lara. Okay, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying. Yeah. No. I'm not saying
just
that.
Compare a newbie to the greatest.
No, I didn't. But I compared his field awareness.
The Jaiswal-Lara comparison is actually not a bad comparison.
Oh, Jaiswal's on red hot, man. I mean, with the little bit he has played Test cricket. So yeah, sure. Record-wise, I'm sure there is a comparison to be made at the beginning. So yeah, Sarfaraz is unique.
Sorry, Sarfaraz and Pant, right? And both of them were batting. One thing I observed is both of them keep falling down so much, like at the crease, and particularly Pant. And also the other thing with Pant is no matter how fast he's scoring, I always feel like he's not scoring fast enough. You feel like he's missing a lot of balls. He's half-heartedly playing a lot of balls, and he keeps falling down. Like batting is all about balance.
How do you plot control figures against Pant? How do you know he's in control, or if he's out? It looks like he's out of control, but actually he's totally in control, hammering that ball. How do you know that is where he intended the ball to go with a batsman like Pant?
So if he middles it, he's in control, no?
I mean, when he's shaping, where he wants the ball to go. That is not the confusion. The confusion is... Yeah.
Hey, how is he middling it? His head is pointing towards, backward of point. His 2 legs are pointing towards square leg.
Yeah,
his hands are somewhere mid-wicket.
On TV, man. I don't. I mean, he's pretty. They are all pretty classical, man. When they play, the where they where they sort of become original is, I think, in what Sid was saying, which is that every one of these batters, they develop sort of what they think are their scoring areas. Where are they going to score their runs? So Kohli, in his time, he's a very, very strong front foot player. And he scores a lot of runs with his, off drives and non drives and cover drives and this not a very big square cutter. Sarfaraz Khan is different. I mean, Sarfaraz Khan sits on the back foot unless he has to come forward. He's not like Kohli. He's like the absolute opposite of Kohli in that sense. Where Pant is also, inclined to sit in. But I mean, there's an element of premeditation in what Pant does. Like he just sometimes he picks a spot and he decides a ball has to go there. That's it. And then he's good enough to pull it off. Right? And more importantly than good enough, I think basically he's strong enough to miss the ball for six. So but in terms of sort of how they basically defend and how they play, they're all basically the same.
Yeah, I think the good point about Kohli and Sarfaraz. I mean, that's why the partnership was such fun to watch, right? Like one the waiting on the back foot, the other going on the front foot. Kohli, playing those I don't even know what to call it. That straight drive, which he actually just risks, that sort of forehand straight drive that he plays. He's like playing a cross-batted straight drive, which goes for four. Beautiful partnership throughout. And then this astonishing thing about Pant and Sarfaraz is that Sarfaraz actually scores quicker than Pant at one point of time. And Pant was going quick.
Yeah. Before Pant went mental, I mean, Sarfaraz was outscoring him. I mean, actually, it was not like Pant was slowing down. He was 46 of 50 balls, man. He was scoring at 92 strike rate. But this guy was outscoring him.
Yeah, but that's the thing with Pant. Even if he scores at 100, I feel like somehow he's just coasting along. He could do more. He hits these flurry of sixes and then, curtains down a little bit. And that six of Southee, man, goodness gracious, how did he hit it? It was just
premeditated.
The sweep. The slog sweep.
No, straight down the ground.
Right?
Oh, the straight one.
Okay. The one where he lost the ball, which...
Yeah,
no,
the
not
one
the
he
straight
lost
down
the
the
ball.
wicket. The one where he hits it on the onside. The big spot.
The slog.
Yeah,
sweep.
the slog.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a mad shot.
That had to be premeditated. And he was just he didn't have any second thoughts about it.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, I was thinking of, how we, it's like, for years and years and years, we held on to that Azharuddin and Tendulkar partnership in Cape Town, right? Like, and then like these days you have those kind of partnerships every so often, man. It's like this is how rare these partnerships used to be, and now look at this. I mean, for all practical purposes, this would be like one of the greatest partnerships for a long time. But it probably won't be, because there'll be two other guys who will come and put on a similar partnership in like 2 tests later or something. So, but yeah, given the context, this was stunning.
We already forgot Shreyas Iyer and Ashwin in Bangladesh. Then Jurel and this guy Gill. Yeah, all those don't get talked about. I mean, all of them are very, very special, no?
Oh yeah, they're all
Vihari and Ashwin gets Vihari and Ashwin.
Okay, that still gets talked about. Anything away, it still gets talked about. It's the home thing which is taken for granted.
Yeah, home thing, is taken for granted. Yeah. Home and subcontinent, anywhere, yeah.
And the other thing about Pant is like, to understand how easy the game is for him is not to watch him hit 4 or 6s. It's when he tries to take a single. It looks ridiculously easy. I mean, he's bored. He's almost like bored. Why are you making me do this? How can it be so easy? I don't get it.
Dude, those two guys should not run between the wickets.
No, the problem is how the Indian batting order is structured, man. Because you get to see Pant after you see KL Rahul struggle a lot. And poor guy is getting Jaffa after Jaffas. And that guy is struggling a lot. or he's trying to keep his wicket intact with all the pressure on him. And this guy just coolly comes and smacks
I
the
don't
ball.
think so. It doesn't matter. You put any batsman before him. If Pant comes and bats, he makes it look so easy. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but those guys were giving mini heart attacks, man, with their running between the wickets. This Sarfaraz and Pant, and after that, after they get into this mix-up, they are both like screaming at each other. I'm like, dudes, come on, man, behave, stop. You have enough shots over there. Don't need to run and all. Just go and hit the boundaries. So, magnificent partnership, and then of course there's only so long that the partnership could go on. So
the upshot of it is that if Gill comes back in Pune, then KL Rahul is going to sit out, because now that Sarfaraz has made 100, he's probably going to play the next match.
Now it's interesting because at the beginning of the series, I thought that there's going to be one outlier like Square Turner, in which Ajaz Patel is going to have his day, and India could possibly lose a test match. Now that they've lost another outlier test, it's really interesting, especially the reaction to this is to produce Square Turners.
If the Pune pitch is a Square Turner, then that gives New Zealand actually a sniff right there to play the extra spinner and to try and have the better of the conditions. Mumbai will help these same fast bowlers.
Yeah.
So yeah. See,
imagine all teams that have come to India. This New Zealand team is the first team to possibly win a series since England in 2000.
It'll be like Sri Lanka going and winning in South Africa, man, in that famous Kusal Perera series.
Yeah,
they went coolly and won 2-0 and came. Yeah, it'll be like that. It'll be of that level of bizarreness if New Zealand end up winning this series, and especially coming on after getting quite badly hammered in Sri Lanka in the second test in Sri Lanka. So, but yeah, for me personally, it'll be great. If this team can pull it off, sure, why not? India eventually have to lose a series. It's not like they will not lose ever. So yeah, if this is the series they lose, so be it. I doubt it though. I think India are still favorites, but sure, I like this.
I doubt it too. Yeah, I think it may be two drubbings. We don't know. Yeah.
You never know, man. With these,
dude, it took a lot. It took like bizarre weather and then bizarre call. Rohit Sharma will not make that mistake again, man. He has not made that mistake in a long time. He makes mistakes once in a while.
That's the kindest thing you ever said about him on this podcast.
Yeah. No. That was a mistake. Sorry, I also make mistakes occasionally.
I hadn't seen this Will O'Rourke, before this series. I think they have a fantastic prospect, and now that I've seen him, I feel that if New Zealand get like again one more good day of good conditions for bowling, I think they can match this team, man. Rourke is like he gives them. He's a real trump for them.
Dude, it took a lot from New Zealand to win this test match. This is a hard fought victory. They won by 8 wickets, but it was still, they had to work a lot. And this is after getting India all out for 46, man. And they had one lucky toss decision going for them and cloudy weather. You need this much to win a hard fought test match against India. You're not going to get that in Wankhede at Pune. If you are going to get that, then okay, fine. Great. Enjoy it. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to beat India, man. Just one match you can't go wild saying that they will have conditions favoring them in Wankhede. They'll get hammered, I think. Will O'Rourke will learn that balls will only come to pad height, even if you're 10 feet tall and bowling from 12 feet height. In Indian pitches.
That'll probably be the way to go. There'll be those low low pitches that don't rise too much above knee hip height, and that kind of pitches is what India will probably go for. And then
Jadeja will come and throw darts for 20 overs, take 7 wickets, go home. That's it, match over.
No, if the test match lasts like 200 like the test match lasts more than 300 overs, no? Then the wicket is going to wear, and then the Indian spinners will have their day. I mean, it's not like, if India get sort of two roughly normal batting innings, no, then they are going to be a handful. Like they're not going to be bowled out for 40 every time. No, I mean, although recently it seems to happen once a year, so who knows?
Yeah, I wonder though after this result if they will rest anyone, like they'll rest Bumrah for instance or something, because I would expect Bumrah to need at least one test rest before the Australia series where they would want him to play all five.
Rest him from IPL, man. Rest him from everything else other than Test cricket. Rubbish.
He's only
they
had
won't do
170. That, no.
Yeah, give him like 70 crores. No, what? These guys are not lacking for money. No, give him 70 crores and says, okay, sit. This is how much you will earn anyways.
One of the good things about like the speed at which these test matches are finishing is that it's not as though Bumrah has to bowl like 40 overs a test match these days. That's one good thing about these test matches finishing in 250 overs or so. I mean, Bumrah, he might actually be able to get away with every test match. The other thing is that, apparently Shami's also been bowling. So he's
the original plan that Shami said, or in a prior interview, was that they were trying to get him fit for the third test from New Zealand. I mean, not directly land him in Australia, but if they can, they would want to play him in the third test. That was the original plan. But now that they have lost, and now there are rumors that, not just rumors, I think even Rohit says that Shami, we have to handle him carefully. So all that, I don't know. They may land him directly in Australia.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see the surface that's laid out in Pune and how it goes. I don't think there is any need for panic. I mean, India is still solid favorites to win this series, and they have enough and more to go win this 2-1, weather permitting. But even if weather is bad, I mean, we've seen how results are being conjured up anyway. So yeah, let's wait and watch on that. One of the things, I mean, there was some very good catching from New Zealand, and in fact, we got a comment. And Karthikeya, you can probably expand on this. I mean, you've spoken about this before on the podcast, but given that we have a comment from a listener, I think it was Pratik. So Pratik, one of our listeners, asks. Question for the next one. Does fielding make a difference or is it irrelevant? Referring to 4 catches by New Zealand in the first innings. So, I think you've said before that, ultimately the better the bowling, the more chances you will create. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
It depends on what you mean by makes a difference. No, I mean, how do you become a systematically better at fielding? And there's no team that is like systematically better than any other among the top 6 or 7 test playing teams at catching or fielding. They all take catches at about the same rate. They drop catches at about the same rate. And like nobody is going to pick a player just because they are great at taking catches. I mean, you have to bat or bowl. So because those things matter a lot more. And bowling matters even more than batting. So, I mean, relevance means what? Relevance means, does it move the needle for you? I mean, does it make it more likely that you will win? And I mean, on days when you take catches, you will win. But that doesn't really mean anything. No? It's like saying that on the day when your number 8 makes 65 and 70 balls, you will have a good day. That's a good outcome on that day. It's not necessarily that you're systematically good at something.
In our last podcast, we spoke about batting and bowling, and we were trying to explain the relevance of batting. So I think this is where the question came from. Anyway, yeah, hopefully, this was addressed.
Look, relevance, on that relevance thing, this week, since we had that previous conversation, Pakistan have won a test match without Babar Azam. and New Zealand have won a test match without Kane Williamson. Right? They have adequately replaced both of those players from whoever else they had in their reserves. Right? So it's like, what did
it proves your point.
dropping
Correct.
Babar, did dropping Babar move the needle? Did dropping missing with Williamson missing move the needle? No, not really. I mean, the whoever else. I mean, you take best players and the 7th, 8th, and 9th in their places going to be about 80, 90, 95% of what those guys are going to do. No, it's not going to be 5% of what those guys are going to do.
Yeah, and also you are sort of comparing it with, say, for instance, if New Zealand had not had Matt Henry.
Yeah,
Or,
when you say batting is
would have-
irrelevant, it doesn't mean that if you play 11 Jasprit Bumrahs in a test match, that will work. No, but that's the sort of, whenever your objections to some proposition so become are absurd, no, then it suggests that the objections are not good ones. No, I mean, this is also the problem with the whole control thing, no, which is that people will imagine some really, really complicated situation where it's really hard to tell. But those situations are extremely, extremely rare, no? But
yeah.
how the system performs on those margin cases doesn't really tell you much about how good of a system it is, no?
Yeah. Also, I think it's a general sort of aversion to the word irrelevant and not understanding it in the way in which it is being described, and attributing it as it is meaningless or it is useless, or giving that kind of thing. That's not true. That's not what
it's not relevant to improving your chances of winning. It's irrelevant, since winning is what it's about.
Okay, so yeah, thanks for joining. Again, magnificent test match. Was glad that we could watch it and talk about it. Hopefully we get 2 more fantastic test matches. Unlikely to match this for the level of quality and drama and seesawing and whatever the sort of the anticipation. But yeah, we can hope. We'll join you after the second test in Pune, and hopefully we will get to talk about something as inspiring as what we have seen in this test match. Thanks, Ashoka. Thanks, Mahesh. Thanks, Kartikeya. And you know where to find us, 81allout.com is our website. At 81allout is our handle on X. Also, yeah, thanks to Pratik for sending in this comment. And Pratik sent in this comment via Spotify comments. So if any of you have, if you're listening to us on Spotify and if you have your thoughts or feedback, you can, send us your comments there too. We read those thoughts also. We have republished 3 books, which are classic works of cricket literature. You can pick those up. I'll link to them. War Minus the Shooting by Mike Marquesi, Cricket Beyond the Bazaar by Mike Coward, and The Summer Game by Gideon Hay. All 3 fabulous, fabulous books that you must have on your shelf if you are a cricket buff. And yeah, we'll see you soon. Take care. Good night.
India have won the series. They're going to get back for 2.